Folks, we've been doing a lot of episodes lately on things that we think are still important to play, so we thought we would go over what our criteria is on why those are still important to play.
Yeah, all that and a little bit more. I'm JC.
I'm Ian.
And this is the Gamer's Gaiden. So let's talk and figure out what that means to both Ian and myself.
And we got to get the first thing out of the way, and that is nostalgia.
Yeah, it's a really big thing for everyone, whether they want to admit it or not.
Exactly, and it's going to be a huge determining factor in whether you recommend something to somebody or not, or whether something is important to you or not.
Yeah. Yeah, we all have it with movies and books and video games, and there's no escaping it. I mean, whenever you played a game, whenever you were a kid with your friends to try and beat it over and over again, you're going to have that nostalgic feeling for it, whether it was a good game or not. So with anything that we suggest, there's always a nostalgic factor on the actual game itself and the sort of review on if it's still worth playing. But yeah, we just kind of wanted to get that one out of the way. But we do have three overarching points that we kind of wanted to go over on it so you had an idea of our sort of methodology on it. And the first one is the game still fun? Is the game loop entertaining?
Well, that's a really big thing. Is it fun? Are you having fun playing it?
Yeah, like, is it a great 2-player or 4-player game to play with friends whenever you get together?
Or is it an amazing single-player experience?
Yeah, exactly. And to kind of bounce off of that, with the game loop and its features, are they still used? Does it still unique today? Is it one of those games that is still sort of in its prime and still influences tons of genres?
Or is this something that you're just not going to be able to get that experience anywhere? Is this a Katamari or a Mr. Mosquito?
Or is it a game like Super Mario Bros. 3, where every 2.5D or 2D Mario game still uses the same formula as Mario 3? I mean, we're still seeing it today in most of every other Mario game that's coming out.
Yeah.
And all the levels are unique, so yeah. And a big one, I think, for me especially, and yourself as well, Ian, is the story good? Does it have that replay value due to it?
Yeah, that's people need to start looking a little bit at video games like reading a good book or watching a really good movie.
Yeah, or re-listening to that one tune over and over again. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, it might take you 30 hours to listen to that one song, but that's
sure.
That's fine. This is no different than any other art form. And if you grew up reading that book and you love that, you're still going to have those same feelings when you read it now as an adult. And you might even have some slightly different feelings about it because you will understand more themes and maybe be able to grasp ideas that you weren't previously.
Yeah, and to bounce off of that, to go into a little bit more detail of it, for example, I've replayed some games, like role-playing games with really deep stories or just really interesting open-world mechanics, and then coming back to them 10 years later, I had a completely different mindset of it. Like, even Life is Strange and coming back to it every couple of years, I found different things from the game sort of as time goes on. It's sometimes always worth re-looking at some of these things. And also from that, there's historic significance where perhaps it started something from scratch and influenced an entire genre, or even sort of pivoted a genre into a hybrid genre where almost all games that are like it, for example, Symphony of the Night. I mean, that game has huge historic significance because it created the Metroidvania genre, where it sort of took the platforming and then mixed in things together to create something holistically and unique that we're still enjoying today. And playing some of those original games is really fun to go back to.
But off of historical significance, a big thing that I do consider when I think of something being replayable is it available and is it reasonably priced? Because some of those historically significant games are incredibly expensive. Do I think everybody should play Snatcher? Yes, I think it's one of the better games for the Sega CD. At the time, it was just beautiful. Does everybody have a Sega CD? No. Does everyone have a copy of Snatcher? No. Is it easy to find? No.
Yeah, I would say that for me, cost and availability of the game doesn't impact my suggestion as much. Where I feel kind of like, for example, Harvest Moon, the original version and Back to Nature are more, or the earlier titles, but they're more expensive, especially the Super Nintendo version. And this falls into that category, right?
Absolutely. I mean, do I agree that the original Harvest Moon is probably the best of the series? Yeah. Do I think everybody should play it? Yes. Do I think everybody can? Probably not. So I would just say play Stardew, because you get a lot of the same things for a way more accessible price.
Yeah, so what you're saying is you would more categorize a game like that, which would be a game that is more significant rather than a game that's more worth playing, because you could just suggest a game that sort of covers the bases.
Yeah, I would. It's something I would take into account.
Right. Yeah. No, that's fair. I would say I don't look into that as much whenever I think of a game that's still worth playing. I just it's not something that I actually really crosses my mind whenever I kind of think of a game. But I do appreciate, as I mentioned in the Shining Force episode, I do appreciate the re-releases of some of these things, because it is getting more and more of a problem as time goes on. So I do definitely.
Well, that's another thing that I do consider, though, as well, is both accessibility to the genre. That's another thing that I keep in mind when I'm suggesting something and thinking of whether something's worthwhile playing. Is this going to be a good jumping off point to play that if you've never played that before?
Fair enough.
Do I think you should jump into, one of the most advanced 4X games for the first time playing something like that? Probably not. Maybe play something a little bit more easy to see if that's something that you even enjoy before investing hundreds of hours of time to just understand all of the various minutiae.
Yeah, and I think I look at this a little bit differently as well for these final 2 points, for our thoughts on still worth playing, because I look at that genre specific. Sometimes I don't consider whether or not there's a big wall. 4X is one of them, where it's like, I enjoy Civ 4. Would I suggest it? No, I would suggest you play Old World, for example, and it has way more mechanics, or Crusader Kings or something like that, just because for the style of game, if you're going to enjoy it, you may as well just hit that wall and climb up, right? And if you're one of my friends, I'll help you get there. But I look at that a little bit differently too.
Hey, that's okay. That's why people watch, so that they can get a little bit of me and a little bit of you, and hopefully take that and formulate their own opinions.
Yeah. So I hope this video helped in defining what our thoughts are on games that are still worth playing. Anyway, we'll catch you in more episodes.